When I started my freelance career, I had really no idea how to get my first jobs. So I wanted to make this video and share with you 3 different ways that you can land your first job. Hey, and welcome to Q+Art. My name is Marie. I've been working as a freelance illustrator for about 1.5 years. So I'm really still in the middle of trying to figure everything out. But as I go along and I find out new things, I wanted to share them with you and make videos about it. Because when I started out, I was just constantly overwhelmed with stuff and having to research everything on the internet and having different resources was so stressful for me. So I want to be that resource for you where you get, most of the answers. As long as I have already figured them out, because I'm still figuring out stuff myself. But this I know, so let's just jump in right into the topic. So one way that you can find jobs is through referral. So when an artist gets offered a job and they can't take it for whatever reason, they are likely to recommend someone else to take over for them. Of course, not everyone does this, but I find that most people just want to help out the community and want to help out their peers. So more likely than not, I think artists are going to refer to someone else when they can't take the job themselves. I got my first job ever through referral because I was DMing with an artist that I admired, and apparently they got offered a job that they couldn't take and they just referred the art director to me. At this point, I would like to shout out Christiane Ebrecht, who got me that first job. They are truly amazing. I will link all of their stuff in the description. Please check them out because I owe them so much. Now, of course, to be referred to by another artist means that you A, need to know other artists who would be willing to do this, and B, you have to be lucky, honestly. However, I find that there are active steps that you can take to make this more likely to happen, but I do want you to approach them with caution a little bit. If you are already on social media and you upload your stuff there anyway, I think this is a great way to get to know your peers and to talk to people and find people who'd be willing to refer you. I think it's really important to make this about connecting with your peers and not about exchanging favors or exchanging referrals, right? Of course, we're all in this business to do business, but I think it would be incredibly rude to contact someone and be like, hey, can you refer me? So please do not ask someone to refer you unless you know them really well, really well, or they offer it to you. Okay, but do not DM people that you admire and be like, can you refer me? That is so rude. And on top of that, even if you are in a conversation with someone that might be in a position to refer you, do not expect them to do so. Please do not go into this thinking, I want to be referred and I want to get jobs. That's really not the point. So if you want and you feel like it, you can reach out to your peers and maybe you can create a great community of like-minded people around you that will help you out. Remember that we're not pitted against each other. We're not trying to take jobs from each other. So whenever you can give back to the community in any way that you can, do so. And if you do this, more other people will do this. All right, let's move on to something that is maybe a little bit more straightforward. The second way that you can get a client is when the client contacts you. That doesn't sound very proactive, but honestly, this is what happens a lot. Sometimes clients will find your portfolio or your social media presence, or ArtStation, Instagram, whatever you use, and will contact you and offer you a job. Now, this is something that you hear established artists talk about a lot. If you ask maybe a more well-known artist or someone who has been working in the industry a little bit longer, they mostly tell you that they get their jobs just through being contacted. Especially as a freelancer, you don't really apply to jobs all that much and get approached more by other clients. And I'm finding this to be true for most of my work that I do now that I'm in my 2nd year of freelancing. But please keep in mind that when I was in my 1st year, I sure as hell did not get any job offers because it makes sense. You don't have anything to show for yet, you know? When clients find your portfolio, they want to see that you are reliable, that you can do the work, and that you have experience. But when you're starting out, you don't have experience. So even if your portfolio is really good, you might not be approached. Sometimes it means that you just don't have the experience yet, but sometimes it also means that they're just simply not finding you. Because how do you expect them to find you in a pool of like thousands of portfolios out there on ArtStation alone? So how can we fix this? How can we improve on our outreach so people actually find us? Well, two things really. The first one would be to improve your social media presence, or to post to your ArtStation or your portfolio website more often, to generate more traffic, to get more eyes to see your work. Personally, I'm not doing this very much because I really find that social media is messing with my mental health. So personally, I'm not really on Instagram posting much, and my portfolio is pretty stagnant, and I still got jobs, and I'm still at a point where I get approached by clients. So it's possible to do this without being super active on social media. So if social media is really not for you, don't worry about it. The other thing that you can do, and this is the third point on the list on how to get a job, is again very straightforward. You apply to the companies, you apply to the jobs. I'm very aware that probably nothing I said in this video comes to you as a surprise. This is not exactly rocket science, you know, you want a job, you apply for it. But you'd be surprised, and I'm really not over-exaggerating when I say that a lot of people started contacting me when I started working as a freelancer and were like, how do you get these jobs? Because they had uploaded their portfolio and were waiting for someone to contact them, and no one contacted them. And I was like, you know, I apply. And I don't mean this as a shade or anything toward those people, because I get it. When you watch interviews with more established artists, they will tell you, oh yeah, the people just come to me. Done. That's not how it works when you start out. At least not for most people. I mean, I'm sure there are some people that upload their portfolio and they're already so skilled that they immediately get job offers. It might happen, but I mean, what are the chances? So, applying to jobs. Again, there's two ways that you can do this, and one of them is just answering a job posting. There are a bunch of sites where you can find job postings. I think ArtStation itself has a tab with job postings that you can filter for stuff that you need. For example, you can filter it for remote work, freelance work, contracting work, etc. Honestly, I've done this when I started out, and I have never heard back from these job opportunities once, because I feel like those are not necessarily geared toward beginner artists, and often not even geared toward freelancers. Most of these jobs will be for like in-house full-time jobs, and those that aren't are not necessarily looking for beginner artists. So I would definitely encourage you to try these out and send like a bunch, send like 10 at a time and see if anything comes back. But please don't be discouraged if they don't. For me, they didn't, just didn't work out. I ended up sending cold emails to companies that I wanted to work with. So a cold email basically means you're just emailing them for no reason. There's no job offer or anything. You're just sending out an email being like, hey, I'm a freelance illustrator. Do you have work for me? So a lot of companies that work with artists, like game companies, for example, they usually will have some sort of art drop email or contact form where you can send your stuff to, because they are always searching for new people, right? It's never a bad idea to just be like, knock, knock, you know, I exist. Because how else are they going to find you in this pool of hundreds of thousands of artists out there? So, you know, be direct, write them an email. A few tips that I can give you is to send out a bunch of those emails at once. Because I think the first time I did this, I sent out like 7 emails at once to 7 different companies, and I only heard back from 2 of them. I mean, that's not the worst thing to happen. The worst thing would have been to not hear back from anyone, and in that case, I would have sent out even more emails. In my case, I heard back from 2. I got 2 jobs out of sending these 7 emails. And honestly, ever since then, I have not had to send out any other email again because people keep approaching me. Because if you start working with companies, you will establish working relationships, and they will come back to you, and they might even refer you. And so the cycle goes on. I will definitely make a whole separate video about how to cold email art directors and companies. All I will say for now is that you should keep it short and professional, because you really don't want to waste anybody's time. So just state who you are and include your portfolio, a link to your portfolio. Please don't send any like PDFs or JPEGs unless the company specifically asks for it. And then you're pretty much already good to go. And honestly, that's it. That's all I can tell you so far. Those are the 3 ways I think you can land your first jobs. Of course, there might be more, but those are the things that I tried and have experience in. And I think you'll probably find one or the other will work for you. So if you have any more questions, or you would just like to add to something I said, then please leave it in the comments and let me know what you think. Other than that, I will see you next week, where I will go into detail about how to write those emails and to get that freaking job. All right, that was so cringe. Bye.